What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Live, episode 79, topic 1. I am Alex, and this is our conversational show, a show that airs every other week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where I talk about random topics, and normally it is with a guest. It hasn't been like that actually in a very, very long time, but for this week, I wanted to get back to it, but I also wanted to talk about some really, really cool topics for me. I'm actually really, really excited to record this topic and the rest of this week's topics. I have a lot of really cool ideas I want to talk about. Starting with this topic, as you've seen from the title, I want to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story's box office bomb, and what it means. We've been having Han Solo videos over the weekend. We're going to have one more tomorrow as just a normal video. This is like a Podcast Now Live, our conversational show. This doesn't exactly count as what we've been doing with the past two videos and with the video tomorrow, but I want to kind of wrap it up today and tomorrow. I'll talk about my last thoughts with the movie, and obviously not a lot of people care because no one's really going to see it in the first place. We're going to talk about that in this video, and then we're going to kind of stop with the Solo stuff and move on. We're still going to have all the other game content that we've been having through this week and getting ready for E3. So let's talk about this Solo, a Star Wars story. Okay, if you've watched any of my past videos, or if not, I can do a quick recap. I was not a fan. The movie was pretty overall boring. Nothing really happened that changed my life. In fact, nothing happened at all that stuck with me more than 10 minutes after the movie ended. I felt like it was completely unnecessary. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was just simply a movie. It wasn't good. He surprised me with how good he was as Han Solo. I actually didn't mind the actor's acting. While I actually did hate Lando, Donald Glover, I hated his acting. We'll talk about that, I think, in tomorrow's video. So overall, the movie was just a movie. It was present. There were things being shown on screen, and that was pretty much it. It didn't stick with me at all after I left the theater. And what does this box office bomb mean? Well, firstly, I just want to say, quickly, I called this. Okay, this is another hashtag Alex was right moment. And I'm not actually that cocky, but I have called quite a few things over the past couple of years on this channel. One of the things I had talked about was this being a box office bomb. This made very little money, and it's not getting help overseas. This movie looks like it's doomed to get around $600 million, which I actually believe in the preview. You can go check this because I haven't yet. I think I said in the preview for this movie that it was going to make $700 million, and that was it. And that is a lot of money, okay? When we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean 5, and I defend that movie a lot, that movie made just about $800 million, and that film, I think, was a box office success, whereas a lot of people think of it as a failure because of where the other movies landed in the box office. Now, Solo, I'm kind of on the reverse side. I do see Solo as a massive undersell. Making $600 million is a lot, but it's not a lot for this movie. The movie, I believe, had quite a massive budget because of the reshoots. I think I was reading the budget of that film was like $300 million. That's not counting the promotional cost. This film overall was around $500 to $600 million Disney had to fork over. So they are going to be lucky to just break even on this film, and that is not a good sign at all. And if you want to look, and again, the title of this video, what does it mean? It means we're getting Star Wars fatigue. It means the people are fed up with what's going on, and we've seen it over the last 2 years. And I don't know what could be more clear to Kathleen Kennedy and to the executives, but they need to change something up, and every decision they're making looks to be the wrong decision going forward. I think the future of Star Wars is in the biggest trouble that we've ever seen. Again, in the past videos I talked about that Solo was better than The Last Jedi, but that is not a good thing. That doesn't mean anything. All that means is it wasn't a complete dumpster fire, because that's what The Last Jedi was. And if you want to look at The Last Jedi's box office, you can tell that that movie bombed. And we ran with that. We even talked about it on the channel, that it bombed. I know some people don't agree. I know making $1.3 billion doesn't really sound like a box office bomb, but when you're used to making way over that with your main episodes, that is a bomb. That is not a lot of money, 1.3, especially after The Force Awakens, not to mention just the very split message that it sent to all Star Wars fans, and now we see quite a divide in the fans. Tyler and I are on the one side, people that kiss up to Star Wars and liked Episode 8 and love Solo for some reason, they're on the other side. But it definitely split the fan base in half. And that is not what you want from your future movies. Episode 9, I feel like, is going to do the worst of all of the main episodes. I feel like it's going to just crack $1 billion. This film was like pulled out of China in a week or two because it did so pathetic. Not Solo, Star Wars The Last Jedi. did so pathetic in China, which single-handedly has saved many, many films, has saved Pacific Rim, has made Resident Evil actually like a worldwide sensation, Mila Jovovich, because people there watch basically anything. They made a lot of money. Pirates of the Caribbean made a lot of money there. China is really good to movies, and it was terrible to Star Wars, which is actually hilarious. I actually find that quite funny, and it's no different with Solo. It's doing actually very pathetic in China, just as The Last Jedi did even worse in China. What Episode 9 is going to do, hopefully it rebounds. Hopefully JJ can bring it home. I don't think it's going to be truly awful because I just have more confidence in JJ Abrams than I do in Rian Johnson. But then you have the future. I don't want or need a Boba Fett movie. To be honest, I don't really need a Kenobi movie either. I will see it because I love Ewan McGregor, but I don't need it. Again, with the unnecessary thing, we talked about that yesterday in our video, that Solo was just unnecessary. The point of watching it, that it didn't do anything for his character, that it introduced aspects that didn't do anything, and doesn't affect us going into any of the main episodes. What's the point? Why do we need these films? And when you look in the future of Star Wars, all these films, you got the Game of Thrones directors making films now. Rian Johnson has a trilogy coming up. I mean, I couldn't think of a worse person to give a trilogy to Star Wars, of Star Wars 2, in Rian Johnson. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. And that's just my personal opinion. We've talked about that in videos. I talked about how Rian Johnson ruined it. Kathleen Kennedy is ruining Star Wars. I mean, we haven't really talked about that. She's probably the architect of this failure. And when it continues to burn down, you're going to look to her as the reason. And I definitely believe she probably is the reason. Her and Rian Johnson make a fantastic team. But Star Wars does not excite me for the future. When I think of what the future of Pirates of the Caribbean can still be, because I liked 5, I loved 5, I think Pirates can still be something with 6. I think they can end Jack Sparrow. I think they can create more stories with the young cast. When you think of Marvel, you have complete confidence in what it's doing. I know Avengers 4 is going to be fantastic, and I have full faith in the next phase of Marvel, no matter which characters don't return after Avengers. I know they will keep it going because there are smart, very smart people at the helm for that. I know that. You can find confidence in these films. When I look at Star Wars, I have zero confidence in what they're doing. I have zero confidence in the decision-making of the future of Star Wars, and that's going to lead to them making mistakes, as they already have, and it's going to lead to some very, very bad things. I mean, this is a wake-up call. People don't care. When your movie doesn't make a lot of money like it is, this is not what you want the rest of the movies to be compared to. Actually, Tim Geddes of Kind of Funny almost echoed my statements exactly in a tweet I saw him say today. He was talking about, how he wished he liked Solo more, yada, yada, yada. But he said, this is not the film I want future Star Wars films to be compared to. This isn't the measuring bar. And that's exactly what I said yesterday in our video. I don't need the Boba Fett movie to come out and say, well, it was better than Solo. Because what does that even mean? That means nothing. What does that mean? When Episode 9 comes out, are we going to compare it to the levels of The Last Jedi? I don't want that. The bar needs to stay high. If the bar isn't high and you're not trying to constantly outdo yourself, then what are you doing? See, Star Wars has that problem. Star Wars has lowered the bar massively in the last 2 years, and some people could argue Force Awakens, some people did not like Force Awakens at all. People have been off the wagon of Star Wars since the original 3. So you could still argue. Now, Rogue One was phenomenal. Rogue One is that outside the box, the outcast that doesn't really factor into any of this. That was the last great one. And now we've gotten this. So I don't know what happened after Rogue One, but something clearly happened because Rogue One was phenomenal, was probably one of my second favorite, a lot of people's first favorite Star Wars film, and then we get this. But you don't have this lack of confidence with other films, and just Episode 9, I just hope it's not awful. I hope the decision-making turns back around. Boba Fett, I hope it's something. I hope we're not watching a guy with a jetpack. I don't even know what he would be doing. I don't actually even know what you say or what you do in a Boba Fett movie. Do people even care enough? People like Han Solo. Boba Fett was in the movies for around 20 minutes. Do we really care? Now, a lot of people like him. I mean, he's like a cult kind of for Star Wars. He's a really high favorite for people. But do we want to watch a full movie on him? I don't know. I feel like they're scraping the barrel there. Rian Johnson's new trilogy, is it going to be a complete dumpster fire? Yeah, I would envision so. He's a terrible director. So I just think it is. at the end of the day, we're just getting too many of these. There's just too many films in Star Wars. And the more you keep giving us, the more you're watering it down, and the more you're lowering the bar. I mean, Marvel's bar has just continued to be raised. And while some people didn't like Avengers Infinity War, I don't think they didn't like it. I just think they thought that it didn't reach the level that it was set at going into it. And you know what? That's fair, because there's a very high bar for these. If Avengers 4 doesn't beat Avengers Infinity War, that's a step back in a way, right? And I loved Infinity War. I think it's the best Marvel movie they've ever made. So the bar is high for Avengers. The bar is high for Marvel, and it continues to keep a high level. There's no movie that's come out that's just massively below the rest. Maybe Ant-Man, but other than that, they've really all kept a very high bar. But then when we get to Star Wars, it's just a complete, anywhere. You just throw a dart, it hits somewhere, and there's your movie. And that's what I feel like is happening to Star Wars. So I do not have any confidence in the future of Star Wars. It's a lot of venting. We're going to do one more of these videos again, like I said, tomorrow. And we'll have topics of Podcast Now Live on Wednesday and Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave in the comments below what you guys think of what I talked about, any topics you want me to discuss in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you for Wednesday's topic.